You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday, happy Moon Day, and happy birthday to Lady Gaga, Kate Goslin, John and Kate +8, Julia Stiles, Vince Vaughn has a birthday today. Lots of fiery Aries celebrating their solar returns. Derek Carr, Reba McEntire, such Aries energy. I love it. Let's see. Anybody else popping up here? Nobody we need to note, but a lot of celebrities are having some fun birthdays. You know who might not be having the best Monday, though, is Will Smith and Chris Rock. Chris Rock's face might be a little bit sore after what happened at the Oscars last night. So I want to chat about it because there's actually a lot going on astrologically that kind of explains that shocking moment at the Oscars last night. Sorry, we're going to talk about the Oscars, but we will talk about astrology as well. And the reason I want to talk about this is because it really paints a picture of how accurate astrology can be. So we are going to talk about it. And I promise that we will get to the forecast and it ties into the forecast as well. So I'm going to start by pulling up the current chart, actually, so you can really see what energy we're working with. We have a ton going on in Aries right now. Mercury moved into Aries yesterday, which makes for aggressive, direct, fiery forms of communication. That's pretty spot on with what we saw at the Oscars last night. The sun is coming into a conjunction with Chiron this week. And all of that Aries energy was definitely activating Will Smith's chart and just the entire situation in general. But I also want to point out what's going on in Aquarius. We have Mars in Aquarius, the moon in Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, and Venus in Aquarius. And Venus and Saturn are forming a conjunction today. So I will talk through the energy of that as well. But let's now pull up Will Smith's birth chart and Chris Rock's birth chart. Let's start with Will Smith. I think that there's a lot to point out here. So take a look at his chart here. Born in West Philadelphia. If you get it, you get it. So Will Smith is a Libra. He is, very passionate person. But also, throughout history or throughout his career, we've seen Will Smith be pretty balanced, right? During Aries season, let me know if you know any Libras or if you're a Libra and if Aries season is particularly fiery for you, because I feel like for Libras during Aries season, the opposite season, it's almost like they get thrown off balance and definitely swing more to the aggressive side of the passive aggressive scale. So that could have definitely played a factor in Will Smith's behavior last night. And also you can look up these charts on astrocharts.com. They're the best site for celebrity charts, in my opinion. So let's talk about what else was going on. I just pointed out the Aquarius energy, Venus, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, and the moon all in Aquarius last night. So actually, let's talk about what was going on energetically during the Oscars. We had Mercury move into Aries Sunday morning, just like we talked about, making for aggressive, fiery communication. But we also were coming into this conjunction between Venus and Saturn and the moon being in Aquarius. So lots of stuff going on in Aquarius. If you look at Will Smith's chart, his midheaven is in Aquarius. Now, our midheaven in astrology represents this pinnacle point or highest potential in our career. Will Smith had never won an Oscar before. This Oscars marked a pinnacle moment in Will Smith's career. But what was going on astrologically at the time? We'll take a look again at Aquarius on our chart. Right in the middle of Aquarius, we have Mars. The moon was conjunct Mars late last night. The moon was coming into a conjunction with Mars when everything blew up at the Oscars. Now, when the moon forms a conjunction to Mars, we're more impulsive, we're more aggressive, we have a harder time holding back how we really feel. We might want to, it's that warrior energy. We're ready to go into battle. We might want to stand up for something we're really loyal to or that we truly believe in. That's Mars energy. And with the moon conjunct Mars during the Oscars, we saw how Will Smith was not able to kind of check himself. I think even in the forecast for Sunday, I wrote, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And there we are. So that was happening, like I said, on top of Will Smith's midheaven, this conjunction between the moon and Mars. And just before that conjunction between the moon and Mars, the moon squared off to Uranus in Taurus, which creates a disruption, an outburst, a change. So that's the energy we were working with during the Oscars, and we certainly saw it play out. I also want to point out a few more things in Will Smith's chart. So Will Smith has his Chiron in Aries. Chiron is currently in Aries. And so his Chiron, let's see, is at 0 degrees Aries. A 0 degree placement means he probably has a lot of work to do with his core wounds. Maybe his inner child wounds with Chiron being in Aries. I won't speculate. I don't know Will Smith's life, but I will point out that when Mercury moved into Aries yesterday morning, it transited right on top of his Chiron. So that fiery communication that was happening from Chris Rock, right? Maybe being a little too impulsive with his communication, not really thinking before he spoke. It seemed to me like just an off the cuff little quip that obviously turned out to be a huge deal. But Mercury being in Aries was transiting on top of Will Smith's Chiron, provoking his deepest wounds. So we saw how he reacted to that, not in a calm way, that's for sure. Now, his sun, Will Smith's sun, is at 3 degrees in Libra, opposing his Chiron and opposing Mercury moving into Aries. So there was this moment that he had to face his wounds, or he felt the need to face off against what was happening astrologically, energetically. So really interesting. His ability to remain balanced with that Libra sun was definitely activated by everything going on opposing his sun. Really, like Libras are the scales, right? They have both energies and they're balancing these energies. And it just really feels like everything that was happening in Aries threw Will Smith off balance. And we even saw that with his really odd speech, his acceptance speech when he won Best Actor. It was like it went on for so long and it was all over the place. Like, he is normally a very well-spoken, even-keeled person, it seems, at least in his public persona, but that definitely got thrown off balance with everything that happened. And so, you know, the Moon-Mars conjunction on top of his midheaven, everything happening at the beginning of Aries, Mercury over his Chiron, Mercury and Aries in general. And Will Smith has a Scorpio moon. I have a Scorpio moon too. We were just talking about this actually last Monday, which can make us very defensive or reactive when our emotions are provoked, especially those deep triggers. And with Mercury transiting on top of his Chiron, those deepest triggers were provoked. So that's what's going on with Will Smith's chart. Now let's take a look at what's going on with Chris Rock's chart. Because, you know, I feel like we've been focusing a lot on Will and Jada, and rightfully so, but this is kind of a big moment for Chris Rock too. Like, can we just address the fact that he got slapped in the face in the most like public way possible, and then also was able to just kind of like keep going? I mean, so bizarre. But here's kind of what's going on in Chris Rock's chart. So first of all, Chris Rock has an Aries rising and an Aries moon. Okay, so all of this Aries energy, it's funny because the fact that he has an Aries rising, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. He's a little brash, a little harsh, a little direct with his humor. Like, he's willing to go there. And it almost seems like when he is doing comedy, it's like kind of just coming through. You know what I mean? He's just kind of like going off the cuff, just saying whatever comes to mind, which is very much that Aries energy of just starting something, doing something, right? So all that Aries energy definitely impacting his 12th house and his first house, like an ending and a new beginning happening with this incident, right? For him personally in his chart. But also there could be a lot of healing that comes out of this for him, or force him to heal because this all happened. Mercury moving into Aries in his 12th house. Yeah. So Aries season, definitely a transformative time for Chris Rock in general. Something else I want to note about Chris Rock's chart is that the Saturn-Venus conjunction happening today, and we started feeling this yesterday, it was within a degree yesterday. So again, this is happening at 21 degrees in Aquarius, right? This Venus-Saturn conjunction. We will go over this. Let's look at right around where 21 degrees Aquarius is in Chris Rock's chart. Well, he just happens to be in Aquarius, and his sun, I believe, is at 19 degrees Aquarius. So let me double check that. Let's see. Yeah, 18 degrees Aquarius. So this Venus-Saturn conjunction is happening on top of Chris Rock's sun and very close to his Mercury as well. So this conjunction is conjunct his sun, his personality, his essence. Whoa. What does that mean? Well, we'll talk more about just the energy of the Venus-Saturn conjunction, but Saturn is boundaries, limits, negativity, worries, anything it's like kind of like a police officer coming in. You know, it's like, we got to limit this, right? So limiting his expression, literally, with Saturn on his sun. We saw the consequences of him not limiting his expression. And also, Venus being in the mix with this conjunction is really, today, we're assessing how we value how Chris Rock shows up in the world. Venus rules our values, how we value his humor, how we value his personality. You know, a lot of comedians are backing up Chris Rock, saying like, these are our values as comedians. We should be able to make these jokes. But then, of course, you have a whole slew of people saying like that was out of line, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it's very interesting that the Venus-Saturn conjunction is happening on top of Chris Rock's sun. He really like broke a rule, Saturn ruling our rules, right? Very much into rules. He broke the rule of making fun of someone going through a public health hardship. And we saw the mass backlash from that, essentially. So that's really what's playing out in Chris Rock's chart right now. Also, Will Smith's moon in Scorpio is conjunct Chris Rock's Neptune. So take a look at Will Smith's moon over here in Scorpio, towards the end of Scorpio. His Neptune is very close by as well, but it's almost directly on top of Chris Rock's Neptune. Neptune rules illusions. You could even say Neptune is kind of like jokes, right? Like there's this, or entertainment, or like deception of some sort, and jokes can be kind of deceptive, right? And Will Smith's moon, his emotions are activated by Chris Rock's Neptune. Neptune also rules the media. So like Chris Rock is like kind of being this like jokester, deceptive on this public media platform, and his leaning into his Neptune definitely provoked Will Smith's moon, his Scorpio moon. That scorpion tail definitely came out to sting. So that's kind of the main energy I'm seeing when I look at these charts, but it's kind of wild how much is going on. Also, want to point out one more thing about Will Smith's chart, which is up on the screen right now. his Mercury is conjunct his Venus, okay? Now, Will Smith is a Gemini rising, so he's ruled by Mercury. Mercury, the planet of communication, but he's also a Libra, so there's definitely a heavy Venetian influence there. And you could almost say that Mercury and Venus are his ruling planets, if, you know, in a sense, Mercury for certain. But they're conjunct at 28 and 29 degrees Libra. And when a planet is at the end of a sign like that, it's kind of at this like pinnacle point. There's a really strong influence from this planet in his chart. And we know, if you know anything about Will and Jada's relationship, they are very vocal about it, which makes sense with Venus conjunct Mercury in his chart. But there's also like a lot of passion there, and he's very upfront about his love, and like not, he's willing to talk about it, to put it out there, and there's a lot of passion there. There's a lot, like it definitely, what's the best way to say this? It definitely dominates like his world, you know, and you know that anytime you look into Will Smith, it's like his wife, his family, his love comes first. So anyway, very interesting as well that was happening in Aries, kind of opposing, and his Saturn opposes his Venus and Mercury. So again, we have this like Saturn influence, like his boundaries, his limits are working on a very different plane, opposing his ability to express his love. So we could get into this for hours, but just a ton of synchronicity happening within their charts. Good morning, Court. Yes, so much Aries energy. And the fact that Chris Rock has so much Aries energy with a rising and moon in Aries, and then Will Smith has so much Libra energy. I mean, you can see it in his chart still up on the screen here. It's like this opposition definitely played out in a very big way. So that's all I have to say about what happened last night. I know a ton of people have been talking about it online, and a ton of astrologers have been pointing out things, but I don't think we've been paying too much attention to Chris Rock's chart either, and what was happening for him. And yeah, I think that, you know, it's just a testament to the fact that astrology is very much real. And yeah, like it aligned perfectly. It was wild to go back and watch the video I posted yesterday morning, like beware of angry outbursts. And then there we see it on like the most public stage. Another thing I'll point out, the last thing I'll say about this is the moon is in Aquarius. So we experience emotions on a collective level. The moon is still in Aquarius right now as well, but last night the moon was conjunct Mars in Aquarius. So we felt that aggression on a collective level. We felt those emotions on a collective level. I mean, everyone in the world was like, what just happened? You know, and we're all trying to process this even today. What does this mean? How do we move forward? How do we navigate this? We all have a shift in perspective with the moon in Aquarius as well. Like, what is okay to joke about? What's not okay to joke about? Where is the line? How do you avoid crossing it? You know, was it okay that he made that joke? Should he have done more research? You know, Jada Pinkett Smith is going through her own battle that she's been very public about with alopecia. You know, causes that we care about are also provoked with the moon in Aquarius. So we're seeing a lot of people, like I said, comedians standing up for the cause they care about, being able to make jokes without fear of getting slapped in the face, literally. And then people who have gone through similar things as Jada Pinkett Smith, or women in general, people standing up for Black women in general, that need to protect Black women. I mean, like Bree said, you know, my social media is flooded with Oscars BS. Yeah, we're all talking about it because we are all feeling the collective energy. So let's talk about the collective energy now, because that's what you came here for. Let's talk about what's going on today in the transits. And we'll start with that Venus-Saturn conjunction that, again, was happening right on top of Will Smith's midheaven. What does it mean for us, though? So let's talk about Venus, let's talk about Saturn and what happens when they come together. Venus rules love, relationships, beauty, money, diplomacy. It's all about how we relate to other people and our own internal values as well. Saturn is the great malefic. It's like a giant no. It is the limiter. It wants us to go slow and steady so we have a structure. Court likes to call it Big Daddy Saturn, and I love that. You know, it's like the father that's always telling you, like, no. You know, the mom is like, go ask your dad, and dad's always the one to say no. That's Saturn. So when Venus and Saturn meet up in Aquarius today, and we'll feel this energy over the next couple days as well, we can expect a very sobering approach to love and relationships. Saturn's limiting influence makes us more aware of our own limitations about love. So this could, if you're in a current relationship, maybe reveal some cracks in the foundation. It could bring up worries or doubts about your relationship, whether you're single or in a relationship. It could bring up limiting beliefs about love and what you're worthy of and your own values in love. And we just tend to be colder and less affectionate when Saturn meets up with Venus like this. So it's really putting a damper on loving energy. Our ability to give and receive love or just be affectionate in general is definitely limited with Saturn's influence. This conjunction could also make you take a really serious look at your bank account, because Saturn likes to have stability and Venus rules our money. So you might be like, oh my gosh, this is all I have left in my bank account. Like, there could be limits or worries, scarcity mindset coming up around money as well. Now, the nice thing is Venus moves fairly quickly. So we feel this for a few days, but it's not going to last forever. And I really believe everything in astrology is here to teach us something. So if these thoughts are coming up for you, or these feelings are coming up for you, pay attention to them. Why do I feel this way? Do I want to feel this way? How can I set myself up to not feel this way in the future, right? So if scarcity mindset is coming up for you around money, it's not a matter of like, how can I get more money in my bank account? It's like, energetically, how can I lean more into abundant energy? Venus is pretty abundant. So how can I lean more into abundant energy so I don't feel scarcity mindset? And of course, when you make that energetic shift, it allows money to come to you more easily. So if these limiting beliefs are coming up, it's really a good idea to look at them. Now, also with Venus ruling beauty, okay, also let's talk about this just in relation to Will and Jada. Limits around beauty, feeling doubt or worry around beauty. Like, I haven't been following along day by day or anything with, I don't follow Jada Pinkett Smith on Instagram. I don't think so. I haven't, but I know she's been posting videos about alopecia and dealing with hair loss. And so going to literally one of the most public events you could possibly go to, the Oscars, with a shaved head, of course, is going to feel vulnerable and make you feel a little self-conscious about your beauty. We're all feeling that with Venus conjunct Saturn, especially when it comes to aging. Saturn rules time, so we could be very aware of aging when we look in the mirror today or over the next couple of days as Venus and Saturn are together in the sky. Could be top of mind. Or just like limiting beliefs about your own beauty. It might not even be just aging, like just not feeling as beautiful, like Saturn being like in the background, like, nope, you're not as, it's just Saturn, unfortunately. I like to say Saturn gets a bad rap, but today, especially when it's conjunct Venus, it's like, it's up to no good here. Don't be surprised though if you have difficult moments in relationship, whether that's a romantic relationship, a friendship, any sort of one-on-one partnership could experience difficult moments or lessons from this Venus-Saturn conjunction. Lessons really want to be learned under this transit, specifically lessons about beauty, love, money, values. What are your values? Are they aligning with the other person's values on the other end of that partnership? And if they're not, Saturn is definitely going to make it known. So I don't know if any of you are feeling this already. I certainly am. Wow, Jackie, 8 a.m. I was on my bank app saying exactly what you just said about the money. Yeah, Venus-Saturn conjunction. There you go. And it's exact at 12:30 this afternoon. So that's when we'll be feeling it like peak, but all day today. Venus and Saturn are together, and we'll still feel this tomorrow. We started feeling it yesterday, and we saw how that worked out. So that's the main transit of today. Don't have any other major planetary connections, but the moon is doing some fun things. So the moon is in Aquarius right now still. And again, we experience things on a collective level. We also crave community with the moon in Aquarius. So you might find yourself like reaching out to other people about this collective experience we all just had and like wanting to connect with them about what we all witnessed. But we also are kind of more emotionally detached and mentally stimulated with the moon in Aquarius. So, you know, you might be like debating or thinking about what happened, or rather than like really feeling it, if that makes sense. Just remember not to, the Aquarius moon, we like to march to the beat of our own drum, do our own thing, be kind of like our weirdo selves. We feel nurtured by that. Just remember not to leave other people behind if you are kind of like off on your own, doing your own thing today, because we do have that Venus-Saturn conjunction, and just kind of doing your own thing and disregarding the relationships that you have in your life could create a little bit of drama. So fair warning, just keep that in mind. At 6 a.m., the moon met up with Venus and Saturn. So Jackie's saying that at 8 a.m., she was looking at her bank account. The moon was on top of Venus and Saturn as that was happening, meaning you are right in alignment with the transits, Jackie. But when the moon met up with Venus and Saturn early this morning, it really set the emotional stage of the Venus-Saturn conjunction all day. The moon in Aquarius wants us to be open to new perspectives, which is definitely helpful under this very serious meeting of Venus and Saturn, bringing up these limiting beliefs, bringing up these worries and doubts. But the moon in Aquarius, if you had a difficult moment this morning, could lead to a breakthrough, because Aquarius wants us to see things differently, do things differently. We could have a new perspective. So that's welcome. The moon is void almost all day today. The moon is void right now, actually. So the moon doesn't move into Pisces until 9:30 tonight, meaning that it's void for most of the day today. A void moon is a time of rest. It's a time to tie up loose ends, not really to start anything new. Although we have lots of energy and we want to start new things in Aries season, wait until Mars Day, wait until tomorrow. Really use this as a true moon day to like get back in sync with yourself. Rest. I know it's a Monday, but if you can, just take it easy today. That will definitely be beneficial for you. Sorry, just had to stop a little timer on my phone, my 11:11 timer. It's 11:11, make a wish. So the void moon, I will say today, could be very, very helpful. If yesterday or even this morning you fell victim to the conjunction in Venus and Saturn, you fell victim to the conjunction of Moon and Mars, you had your own Will Smith moment. We've all been there, right? We've all been Will Smith. At least I have. I definitely have. Maybe it's the Scorpio moon. But if you found yourself, or maybe someone you're in relationship with, having a bit of anger or outburst, or things didn't go as planned, right? There was some conflict that arose. A void moon is a great time to say you're sorry, to patch things up. In the waning moon phase, which is where we're at right now with the Aquarius moon also, this is a really beautiful time for forgiveness. So if maybe like you poked the bear and you're not sure how to get back on the best terms with the bear, the void moon is a time to gently approach again. And we know that during a void moon, anything that's started or initiated won't have a significant consequence. So going back into the bear's den, saying you're sorry, maybe bringing a little bit of food, or, you know, just having that gentle approach during the void moon could actually help you patch things up without the situation flaring back up again. So we can use the void moon to our advantage. But again, this is a time to tie up loose ends, settle things down before the moon moves into Pisces tonight, before Mars Day tomorrow, and we can start to kind of pick that energy back up again. The moon does move into Pisces at 9:30 p.m. and we'll kind of be returning to our sensitivities at this point. This could be emotional sensitivities. This could be psychic sensitivities. When the moon is in the sign of the fish, we're in tune with our compassion and empathy. So that detached energy. While the moon has been in Capricorn and Aquarius, we haven't quite been super in tune with our nurturing emotions or gentle emotions. The moon in Pisces allows us to return to those, return to compassion. This could even lead to a healing moment tonight. Creativity is favored. So if you're not at a place where you feel like anything is resolved, maybe leaning into creativity, doing something artistic to allow yourself to release, that could be very helpful, provide some healing. Just be careful when the moon is in Pisces over the next 2 days, not to get too lost in a fantasy, because this transit can bring an urge to escape. It can be a little bit escapist with the moon in Pisces. So if things haven't settled down from the past 48 hours in your own personal life, beware of the urge to just check out and leave, whether it's mentally or physically. The moon in Pisces, we can get a little lost in I'm just going to start a new life and a whole fantasy of what life could be. We can deceive ourselves with the moon in Pisces. So just keep that in mind. Maybe not the best time to make decisions today, long-term decisions today. This is the day to really sit with things, sort things out, let the dust settle, allow yourself to heal by the end of the day, say you're sorry, forgive, so we can move on with some new energy through the rest of the week, especially because we are leading up to the new moon this Thursday night. It's we're at the end of the moon's cycle, right? So this is the time to heal, forgive, let go, release, all these things. And yeah, the energy will support it throughout the week, but there could be some tension you're working through today in order to get to that point. So let's do a little overview of today, and then we will pull a card. This Monday, we're experiencing an intense conjunction between Venus, the planet of love, and Saturn, the planet of limits and boundaries. This could bring up worries or doubts in your relationship. It could expose some cracks in the foundation. And this could be romantic relationships or one-on-one partnerships, friendships. If you're single, this could bring up a lot of limiting beliefs or scarcity mindset about your ability to receive love, about your chances of falling in love. Now, Venus also rules money, so limiting beliefs about money could be coming up for you as well during this Venus-Saturn conjunction. Venus rules beauty and values as well. Our values and our beauty could be challenged, or there could be a damper on these things in our life as Saturn's influence really brings the energy down. So, if you're really thinking about aging or beauty or your own values, that's par for the course as well. The moon is in Aquarius, and it meets up with that conjunction between Venus and Saturn this morning, which only infuses our emotions into those limiting beliefs, making it hard not to believe them. We are very emotionally aware of this tension, or this, what's the right word I'm looking for? This conjunction. We're very emotionally aware of limiting beliefs, of boundaries being expressed in relationships. The moon is void most of the day, though, after it connects with that conjunction. So it allows the dust to settle. It allows us to tie up loose ends, maybe take a breather, maybe say we're sorry. This is a beautiful time for forgiveness under the waning moon as well. And then the moon moves into Pisces at 9:30 p.m. Pacific time, allowing us to return to sensitivity, return to compassion and empathy, and maybe, perhaps, have a healing moment. So that's what's going on today. Everything you are saying, I am resonating with. That makes me happy. I mean, that's the reason we went through what happened last night, because it's kind of wild when you start following the transits day by day to see how on point they are with what's going on internally and what's going on with the world. We're going to pull from the Work Your Light deck today. I think we could all use a little bit more light under this Venus-Saturn conjunction. And as I'm shuffling, this is your chance to ask questions. Let me know how you're feeling under this conjunction, how the energy is working for you. Let me know if you were watching the Oscars last night, what your reaction was. All right. I'm going to stick these back in, because I know that was like the slap that rocked the world. Seriously. People were like, is it fake? Is it real? And I just think it's really interesting that a lot of us are reflecting on our values today collectively. And it's interesting too because the Venus-Saturn conjunction is in Aquarius, putting this emphasis on the collective experience. So, oh my gosh, my card shuffling skills are all over the place today. We're going to do one more shuffle because two keep popping up and I'm like, no. Okay. What do we need to know today? What do we need to know? Yes. This is one of the cards that actually popped out and fell on the floor earlier, so definitely meant for us. Imrama, where are you being called to journey to? Let's see what the guidebook has to say. There we go. Imrama. Where are you being called to journey to? The Celtic word Imrama means a journey of the soul, a voyage on which we don't know where we are going, but our soul knows the way. If you pulled this card, you are either being called on a soul journey or are already on one. It could be to a physical ancient place or it could be metaphoric. When we journey to places that our soul remembers, a shift takes place, both within us and to the planet as well. You are being called to journey to a place that is sacred to your soul. Perhaps it is to journey to the world's sacred sites, or called to cross the country, climb a mountain, lie on the desert floor, or drink from an ancient well. There are places to see and old friends to meet. I see spontaneous pilgrimages in your future. If a physical voyage isn't possible, journey through the portal of your heart. Follow the invisible soul trail and be willing to explore. Maybe read a book or watch a movie about a sacred time or place. Or perhaps you're being called to study an ancient lineage or body of work. Whatever your circumstances, your soul is ready to journey deep. Interesting. Your soul is ready to journey deep. You know, it's not directly related to what's happening in the stars today, but I think this Venus-Saturn conjunction, as we're reflecting on our values, as these limiting beliefs are coming up, oftentimes I think hardship is like the greatest compass. You know, it really points us in the direction we're supposed to be going and shows us what we need to see. And so don't be surprised if you are experiencing any difficult moments, if after the dust settles, they do bring some clarity. If you do feel like this spontaneous urge to do things differently or to journey deep into something that came up. Right? If a limiting belief comes up and it's something you haven't explored, this card is inviting you to go there, go deep, be with that limiting belief, you know, allow yourself to like really get intimate with it. Also, if you're here and you're learning about astrology, this could be that card as well. You know, we went deep into astrology today, looking at the transits, how they played out in the real world and how they're affecting all of us on a collective level. So this could be your calling to go deeper into astrology as well. If you haven't ever gotten a copy of your birth chart, you can get one on my website, thespiritualjournalist.com/birth chart, or you can just scan this QR code in the corner, completely free to you. And yeah, where are you being called to journey to? That is the question of the day. Where are you being called to journey to? And our affirmation of the day is, my love knows no limits. Interesting. It did say to journey through the portal of your heart. So I think that's interesting that that's the affirmation. But I used that affirmation today because it'll definitely feel like love is limited today. It'll definitely feel like like on a car, there's like a limiter on a car. The car will stop accelerating at a certain mileage, at a certain speed. And Saturn is like that limiter on our love. It kind of like cuts off our affection at a certain level. So I'm leaning into the affirmation today. My love knows no limits. My love knows no limits. I have the capacity to love beyond how I feel in this moment. So that's our affirmation. Today's a little bit tense, you guys, but it's going to be okay. It's not going to last forever, I promise. Tomorrow, we have a new episode of The Spiritual Journalist. Speaking of affirmations, we're going to have the Affirmation Addict join us. She's huge on Instagram, and I'm really excited to talk to her about the power of affirmations, how they've transformed her life. I know they've been very transformative in my own life, and just to hear her story, how she got to where she is. And she has an app now. And anyway, all about affirmations tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. And tomorrow will be our first show featuring our new sponsor, which just happens to be the site I used this morning, Astro Charts. So they will be sponsoring the Spiritual Journalist conversations moving forward. And I'm so, so grateful. So excited. And yes, you're right. It's called a governor, not a limiter on your car. Of course, I did not use the right word, but that's okay. Thank you for helping me out. I'm still irritated with you. We are definitely experiencing the Venus-Saturn conjunction in our household this morning. Just FYI, everybody. So if you're having a hard day too, you're not alone. I'm right there with you. Just because you follow the transits doesn't mean you're exempt from experiencing them. So also, just helping. Ugh, he's having his lunar return right now today too. I'll leave it at that, guys. I will leave it at that. And I will leave you with that as well. I hope you have an easier day navigating the Venus-Saturn conjunction than we have. But if you don't, that's okay. It only lasts a day or two, and it's here to teach us lessons. Saturn is the great teacher of the zodiac. Get your little emoji out of here. I am done with you right now. I knew you were going to pop into this live stream. Anyway. Saturn likes to teach us lessons. So pull the lessons from the pain today. Pull the lessons, leave the pain. Okay? I love you all. I'm so grateful you joined me here this morning. I'm so grateful you showed up for yourself. You stuck with me through all the Oscars chat, even though I know that's probably not what you came here for. Thank you, Court. This is the realness. You know, got to keep it real. Being in a relationship is not easy at all. But I am grateful for all of you for holding that space for me too, letting me just be me. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, if you could go ahead and like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can continue producing these videos for you every day for free and monetize our channel. So I would super appreciate that. And I will see you right back here tomorrow morning with more of the realness. We'll look ahead through the week tomorrow as well as we lead up to the new moon. And we have lots of fun stuff to talk about with the moon all week. So stay tuned for that. Come back, join me tomorrow morning. I will see you then. But until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.